So, when we were talking about diving into this whole online betting world, and you sent over that article from BetPlace about Angola, I gotta say, I was pretty intrigued.
Yeah. What grabbed you?
Well, I mean, the title's straight up, right? Top 10 best betting sites in Angola. Best apps and sites. Like, okay, we get it. They're ranking sites.
Yeah, gotta be direct. Gotta get those clicks.
But then when you actually start reading, it's less about, like, here's the winner and more about, I don't know, it felt like this glimpse into a market that's kind of figuring itself out,
Totally. Like, it's got this traditional on-the-ground betting scene, but then there's this whole online explosion happening, and they're trying to make sense of how those two things fit together. And BetPlace, they're clearly trying to be like the guidebook for Angolans who are navigating all of this in 2024, 2025, So what we're going to do today is basically unpack all that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they've given us all these pieces, so we're going to put the puzzle together for everyone listening so they don't have to sift through it all themselves.
Makes sense. Dive deep, as they say.
Oh, 100%. And speaking of diving deep, one thing that absolutely floored me was this projection that BetPlace threw out there. The Angolan online gambling market could hit over 127 billion US dollars by 2027. That's, mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah. We're talking like serious money here, not just pocket change.
So what's driving that? Like, how does a market even get to that kind of level?
Well, there's a few things BetPlace points to, and they make a lot of sense. For starters, you've got more and more people in Angola getting online. Like, internet access is spreading.
Right, so that opens up a whole new world for them.
Exactly. And then there's this big young population that's already super comfy with tech, online platforms, that kind of thing.
Makes them prime candidates for online betting for sure.
Totally. Now, historically, betting in Angola has been pretty casino-focused, but what's really starting to gain traction are these sports betting sites.
Which makes sense, right? You mentioned before how much Angolans love their football, practically a national obsession.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if there's a game on, chances are someone's got to bet on it.
So as this online betting scene explodes, you'd think the government's got to step in at some point.
You know it. And according to BetPlace, they are. They're looking at licensing requirements, fees for operators, the whole 9 yards. It's how governments usually try to bring some order to a growing industry.
Yeah, regulation makes sense.
Yeah.
But BetPlace also mentioned this kind of gray area when it comes to online casinos specifically. What's the deal there?
Okay, so this is where it gets kind of interesting, right? BetPlace highlights this distinction between how land-based betting and online betting are treated, legally speaking.
Okay, break it down for us.
So, like, your physical casinos, sports betting shops, those are totally legal in Angola. They operate under government licenses, no problem. But specific laws and licensing for online casinos, not quite there yet.
So that's the gray area.
That's it. It means Angolans can access these offshore online casino sites, basically sites based outside Angola, not specifically licensed by the Angolan government. But here's the thing. BetPlay suggests that even without that local regulation, tons of Angolans are already betting online.
Wow. So it's kind of like they're waiting for the law to catch up with what people are already doing.
Kinda, yeah. It's this weird limbo. Oh, and just a couple of practical things that BetPlace mentions. The legal gambling age is 18, and the usual payment methods like bank cards, e-wallets like Skrill and Neteller, those are all good to go.
Good to know. So let's say someone in Angola is like, okay, I want to try this online betting thing. What are the big things they should be thinking about when they're picking a website based on what BetPlace says?
All right, so BetPlace lays out some really key factors, stuff everyone should be looking at. Top of the list, licensing.
Okay, makes sense. Like some kind of official stamp of approval.
Exactly. Even though Angola is still figuring out their online regulations, checking if a site has a license from a respected international gambling authority is a good sign. It means they've been vetted, they meet certain standards, that kind of thing.
So until Angola gets their own system up and running, look for those international ones.
Precisely. BetPlace does say the Angolan government is working on their own licensing, so down the line, that'll be the main thing to watch for.
Gotcha. So licensing, check. What else should people be on the lookout for?
This one's super important, and BetPlace stresses it. Security. You're putting in personal info, financial details, all that, so the website needs to have top-notch encryption protocols.
Right, because you don't want that stuff floating around where it shouldn't be.
Absolutely. Think of encryption like scrambling all that sensitive info so only the betting site can read it. No one else can snoop around.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, so security check. What else does BetPlace say matters when you're picking a betting site?
All right, so this is more about like what kind of betting experience you're looking for. BetPlace talks about the variety of betting markets and the odds they offer.
Okay, so more options, better odds, more chances to win big, basically?
You got it. More markets means more choices in what you can actually bet on, and good odds mean you could potentially get higher payouts if your bet's a winner.
Makes sense. Who wouldn't want more choices and better potential returns?
Right. It's a no-brainer. But BetPlace also says don't underestimate the importance of user experience. Like if a site's clunky, hard to navigate, it's just going to be frustrating.
Yeah, no one wants to be battling the website when they're trying to place a bet.
Exactly. And think about this. BetPlace mentions that over half of online gamblers are using their phones. So mobile compatibility is a big deal. Whether it's a mobile-friendly website or a dedicated app, it's got to work smoothly on your phone or tablet.
Makes sense. So ease of use and making sure it works on your phone, those are biggies. Anything else?
Oh yeah, can't forget about payment options. The more ways you have to put money in and take it out, the better. BetPlace specifically mentions a few bank transfer, which can take a couple of days, mobile banking, which is instant, and then services like Western Union and MoneyGram. Those are pretty fast too.
Okay, so lots of choices there, which is good. Now, what about those tempting welcome bonuses that, like, every betting site seems to offer? BetPlace mentioned those too, right?
Oh yeah, those bonuses. They're definitely a big part of how betting sites, as BetPlace highlights, try to get you in the door and keep you coming back. You know, the classic 100% match up to $500 or even bigger sometimes.
Yeah, those definitely catch your eye. But there's got to be a catch, right?
Well, BetPlace does caution people to read the fine print, the terms and conditions. Like, what are the wagering requirements? Can you use the bonus on any type of bet? Don't just get dazzled by the big numbers. Make sure you understand the rules of the game.
Good advice. So licensing, security, user experience, payments, bonuses, and assignments. Was there one more thing BetPlace said was important?
Oh yeah, don't overlook user reviews. Seeing what other people have experienced with the site can give you valuable insights. Like, is it reliable? Do they treat their customers well? It's that social proof that can really help you make a decision.
Right, like hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a pretty solid checklist for anyone starting out with online betting in Angola. Now, BetPlace also delved a bit deeper into the legal side of things, mentioning the 2004 gambling law. What's the significance of that?
So that law, as BetPlace points out, it's like the foundation for betting activities in Angola. It sets the rules for both the companies running the show and the people placing bets. And the main government body in charge of overseeing all this, at least for sports betting, is the Instituto de Supervisão de Jogos, or ISJ for short.
The ISJ, got it. So they're the regulators, making sure everyone's playing by the rules. But didn't BetPlace say there's a bit of a gap when it comes to online platforms specifically?
That's right. While the ISJ handles licensing for traditional on-the-ground betting, the online side of things is still being worked out. BetPlace makes it clear that online licensing isn't fully in place yet.
So it's kind of work in progress, but the 2004 law is still the main framework for now. Has it had a positive impact overall, though?
According to BetPlace, yeah, definitely. They suggest it's been a big factor in the growth of the betting industry as a whole in Angola, and it's even had a positive knock-on effect on the economy. Under this law, BetPlace notes that football, basketball, and handball are some of the most popular sports to bet on, and they highlight platforms like eBet Angola as examples of how online betting is becoming more accessible, even with the current legal situation.
Okay, so we're starting to get a pretty good grasp of the lay of the land in Angola, thanks to this BetPlace article. Now, beyond the specifics of Angola, what are some general qualities that BetPlace says make for a trustworthy betting site?
These are like the universal hallmarks of a reputable online betting platform, and BetPlace really underscores their importance. First and foremost, security and fair play. We touched on encryption already, but it also involves having those recognized licenses, even if they're international for now, and undergoing regular audits by independent organizations. That way, you know the games are fair and the odds aren't rigged.
Right, transparency and all that. So security and fair play, check. What else?
BetPlace also emphasizes user experience and site navigation. A clean, well-designed website, easy to understand, simple to move around, and of course, good mobile functionality. All of that is key.
Yeah, no one wants to spend their time trying to figure out how to actually place a bet. It should be intuitive.
Exactly. And then there's customer support, which BetPlace highlights as super important. If you've got a question, a problem, you need to know you can get help quickly and easily, whether it's through live chat, email, or even a phone line sometimes.
Makes sense.
So
support, check. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. Game variety, BetPlace points this out as a big draw. For sports betting, it's about offering a wide range of sports, different types of bets you can place. For casinos, it's about having a diverse selection of games, from classic slots to those flashy video slots with storylines, jackpot slots where you could win big, table games like blackjack, roulette, you name it. BetPlace even mentions some of the big game developers like NetTent, Microgaming, Playtech. Those are usually good indicators of the quality and variety of games you'll find.
So basically, something for everyone, whatever your gambling poison may be.
Exactly. And last but not least, BetPlace talks about payment methods. A good betting site will offer a range of secure and convenient options for both deposits and withdrawals. It's all about making the whole process smooth and hassle-free for the user.
Gotcha. So we've covered the basics of what makes a good site. Let's zoom in on sports betting in Angola specifically. BetPlace mentioned it's a pretty lively scene.
Oh yeah, definitely. They estimate there could be over 30 million potential bettors in Angola, so the market's huge. As we discussed, football, both local and international, is king, along with basketball, especially the NBA. And the top sportsbooks are really trying to up their game with features like live betting, where you can bet while the game's happening, detailed statistics to help you make smarter bets, and of course, that all-important mobile accessibility.
Okay, so it's like they're trying to bring the excitement of being there in person to your phone or computer.
Exactly. It's all about making the experience as engaging and immersive as possible.
Now, what about the casino side of things? BetPlace mentioned growing interest even with the whole regulatory situation being a bit unclear for online casinos.
Right. So even without specific local licenses for online casinos, BetPlace suggests that Angolans are still finding ways to access offshore sites that offer that huge variety of games we talked about, slots, table games, the whole shebang. And just like with sports betting, bonuses and promotions are a big way these casino sites try to lure in players. They often have welcome bonuses ranging from a couple $100 to thousands, free spins on slots, loyalty programs, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, those bonuses can be pretty tempting, but again, always read the fine print, right?
Absolutely. BetPlace emphasizes that over and over again.
Okay, now for those interested in poker, BetPlace gave a quick rundown of some of the main platforms. What were the key things they looked at when comparing them?
So they looked at Melbit, GG Poker, PokerStars, Poker Bros, Natural 8, and they focused on a few things that really set them apart. Player traffic, for example, is a big one. BetPlace noted that GG Poker tends to have a lot of players online at any given time, which is good if you want lots of action. Then there's the rake structure, basically the fee the site takes from each game. Some are more competitive than others. Bonus offers are another big differentiator. BetPlace highlighted Natural 8 as being popular for its generous bonuses. And then, of course, the mobile experience, how good their apps are, how well the poker games actually run on phones and tablets.
So depending on what a poker player values most, BetPlace gives them some clues as to which platform might be the best fit.
Exactly. It's about finding the right site for your individual needs and preferences.
And it seems like mobile is a recurring theme here. BetPlace really hammered home the importance of mobile betting apps.
Oh yeah, for sure. They cite that over half of online gamblers are using their phones, so having a good mobile app isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a must-have. BetPlace even gave some market share data for some of the popular apps, though they caution that this data reflects the broader global market, not just Angola. But it still gives you a sense of what's out there. They mentioned apps like DraftKings, which is big for live betting and fantasy sports, FanDuel, known for its same-game parlays and easy deposits, BetMGM Sportsbook, which has casino games integrated, and Caesar Sportsbook, known for its no-deposit bonuses and wide range of betting markets.
So lots of choices, but the key takeaway is if you're serious about online betting, you need a good mobile experience.
Absolutely. It's all about convenience and accessibility these days.
So zooming out a bit, based on everything BetPlace laid out, what are the big advantages of choosing to use online bookmakers in Angola?
Well, BetPlace stresses convenience as a major factor. You can bet from home, on your own time, no need to go anywhere. And that increased accessibility, whether you're on your phone, tablet, computer, it just opens up a whole new world compared to those traditional betting shops. BetPlace also points out that you generally get a wider variety of betting options online, more sports, more types of bets, even esports. And for some people, the privacy and security of online transactions are a big plus. Plus, as we discussed, Angolan bettors have a decent range of payment methods to choose from, making the whole process easier.
So convenience, variety, security, all good reasons to go online. Now, let's get to the heart of the BetPlace article, their list of the top 10 best betting sites in Angola. for 2024-2025. Who made the cut?
Drum roll, please. BetPlace's top 10, based on their evaluation, are Betway, 1xBet, Melbit, Sportpesa, 888sport, Betfair, Leo Vegas, William Hill, Paddy Power, and Betfred. They gave each site a reliability score out of 5, some info on their welcome bonuses, and a user rating out of 10.
And they even included feedback from actual users, which is always super helpful. What were people saying about these top sites?
Yeah, that real-world perspective is invaluable. BetPlace highlighted things like users praising Betway for its smooth functionality and good customer service, 1xBet for its generous bonuses, Melbit for its great user experience, especially on mobile, and Sportpesa for its engaging live betting features. So you get a sense of what the experience is actually like for people using these platforms.
Like a little peek behind the curtain. Okay, so we've covered the current landscape, but what about the future? What trends does BetPlace think will shape online gambling in Angola going forward?
They point to a few interesting things. The continued dominance of mobile gaming is a big one, with most gambling already happening on phones. They also see a clear focus on younger demographics, those aged 25 to 40, who are drawn to games that blend skill and entertainment. And even with the current level of activity, BetPlace thinks the market still has a lot of room to grow, since only about a third of the population is currently participating. Skill-based games are also gaining traction, bringing in a significant chunk of revenue. The regulatory environment, as we discussed, is still evolving and presents challenges for new companies trying to enter the market. And finally, BetPlace notes that emerging tech like virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, are starting to have an impact, with VR gaming seeing significant growth.
Sounds like there's a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon. Now, one thing that's super important whenever we talk about gambling, and I'm glad BetPlace addressed it, is responsible gambling. What did they highlight in that area for Angola?
Yeah, they really emphasize the importance of creating a safe and sustainable betting environment for everyone. They talked about tools and resources that users can access to manage their betting habits, like self-exclusion programs where you can block yourself from a site, deposit limits, session duration limits, wagering limits, all that stuff. And they also stress the importance of support networks for people who might be struggling with problem gambling, like 24/7 helplines, online chat support, and partnerships with organizations dedicated to tackling gambling addiction. They even mention awareness campaigns like European Safer Gambling Week, which helps promote responsible gambling practices.
It's good to know those resources are out there. So to wrap up our deep dive into this BetPlace article,
Yeah.
What's the overall outlook for online betting in Angola?
BetPlace paints a pretty optimistic picture, suggesting there's huge potential for continued growth. They think Angola can learn from other African countries with more established online betting markets like Zimbabwe, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa. With the right regulatory framework, they see lots of opportunities for new businesses and innovative services to emerge. And they remind us that at the end of the day, betting should be fun. It should be entertainment. Looking at the global picture, the online gambling market as a whole is projected to keep growing, hitting some pretty impressive figures by 2025. So Angola is definitely well positioned to ride that wave.
So to sum it all up, it seems like Angola's online betting market is vibrant, dynamic, but still evolving. There's massive potential for growth driven by increasing internet access and a young tech-savvy population. But as BetPlace emphasizes, it's crucial to choose your betting platform carefully, considering factors like licensing, security, user experience, and to always gamble responsibly.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And now I'd like to pose a question to you, our listener. Given what we've learned about this evolving landscape in Angola, where regulation is still catching up, what do you think are the biggest opportunities and potential risks for both the people who want to bet and for the future of the industry itself? It's something to ponder. And just a reminder, all of this insight comes from BetPlace, which, as we've seen, is a great resource for evaluating betting platforms.
Absolutely. The online betting world never stands still, so staying informed using resources like BetPlace is key. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Anytime. Catch you next time.